Hey everybody, this is Glenn from Lithos Cry and the Get Real podcast. I have to say that January 2019 has gotten off to a very fast start with a lot of really significant, awesome things going on at the same time. My last video I talked about two great releases musically from two awesome bands. The first one I talked about a little bit was Masters of Destiny by Delain, and then the other one that I spoke about was In Vain by Within Temptation, and both of these singles were released on the same weekend. Not really a coincidence, because there's something that God is wanting to show us through both of these songs. And also in the last video I talked a little bit about a blood moon, and we just had it last night. I got up and went out and took some pictures of it and came back and went to bed. But I want to talk about that a little bit more, because I'm starting to see something going on here. Something I think is really significant is that we've got two things going on at the same time, okay, that are going on here. Now, first of all, I want to talk to you about the blood moon a little bit. The world has not ended. I still got to pay my bills today, and those of you that were not intending to pay your bills, go ahead and do so. It's going to be a little while before the second coming. We're getting closer, but the world's not come to an end yet. But in Psalm 19 and verse 1, it says, "The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge." As I was taking a look at this verse, Psalm 19 and verse 1, it became apparent to me that God does use the heavens to speak to us. Things such as blood moons, full moons, solar eclipses, things like that. I don't have all the details on that. I don't know all about that, but right here it does say that he does that. We just have to go back and take a look at the Star of Bethlehem that the three wise men followed. The stars told the story that the Messiah had been born. So that does happen. A lot of times we just take a look at this verse and we're like, okay, so, we look at the stars and we know that God exists. Got it, okay, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. And really, the heavens are God's display screen to kind of show us what he's up to and what he's doing. So we can kind of get a sense of what's going on in the spiritual realm by looking into the heavens. That is true. Now, the next verse I want to talk about, and we see several things going on at once here, is Joel chapter 2 at verse 28. And it says, "It shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh." Now, this is important because God is right now, I really believe, pouring out his spirit upon all flesh. That's why when you listen to songs such as Masters of Destiny by Delain and a song such as In Vain by Within Temptation, we're getting really solid biblical, I'm going to use the term biblical, but godly wisdom through those songs. And where is that coming from? They're being inspired because God is pouring out the Spirit, his Spirit, upon the flesh of those bands. Without question. You need to go take a look at it. You need to go listen to it. It's there. So really, we all a lot of us need to repent, because we've often said, well, God can't use this and God can't use that. Well, in Joel chapter 2 verse 28, it says that he's going to pour out his spirit upon all flesh. And that's not just everybody that's been saved or that believes in him. Okay? So it's upon everybody. It says, "And your sons and daughters shall prophesy, and your old men shall dream dreams, and young men shall see visions." And here's something that Dan and I have talked about, is not only are we seeing gospel truth through metal, but we're seeing it through a lot of other things and hearing. And for those that have ears to hear, I urge you to listen and to watch. But at Joel chapter 2 at verse 30, it says something else here. It says, "And I will show wonders in the heavens and in the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke. The sun shall be turned into darkness and the moon into blood." Well, there we have it. We have a blood moon. "Before the great and terrible day of the Lord come." So, what we have going on in Joel chapter 2 is what we have going on in the earth right now. Is we have two things going on at the same time. God is pouring out his spirit upon all flesh. Go listen to Delain. Go listen to Within Temptation. There's a lot of other great metal artists that God is pouring his spirit out upon. But also, while he's pouring out his spirit, he's showing us great wonders and great signs, such as the blood moon that's spoken of in Joel chapter 2 at verse 30. Now, here's something I want you to think about, okay? And this kind of hit me a little bit. Dan and I, we often talk about a new Reformation, and this is something that we started talking about in 1997, 98, 99, around that time frame. And this is something that I believe God started at that time. Dan and I, we took a little vacation and spend some time in the spiritual desert. And we'll talk about that at a later date. But in Joel chapter 2 at verse 30, he says that God says that he's going to show signs in the earth, in the heavens and the earth, wonders in the heavens and the earth, such as fire and pillars of smoke. And I really believe that the pillars of smoke are something that we saw occur in the United States on 9/11. We saw two pillars of smoke that smoldered for days. And these are signs of what God's doing. And I don't want everybody to start freaking out about doomsday, all right? You do need to be concerned about the great and terrible day of the Lord that's coming. But right now, what I want you to think about is I want you to think about him pouring out his Spirit upon all flesh. And why is this happening? It's because he wants people to be saved prior to the great and terrible day where he does have to come and execute judgment upon the earth. And yes, that will happen. So we've got two things going on here. He's pouring out his Spirit upon all flesh. And yes, Delain and Within Temptation are part of that plan at the same time that we see blood moons. Now, let's circle right back around here and go back to the Delain EP that's coming out, Hunter's Moon. That's another term for a blood moon that occurs during the month of October. And there's another term for that as well. It's also called a harvest moon. And when I hear the word harvest, I think of souls being saved, souls being set free, souls being liberated, freedom, absolute freedom, because Jesus did come say that he came to bring liberty to the captives. And that is really what I believe we see going on right now. So for those that have ears to hear, listen. Those that have eyes to see, look and see. God is being very, very poignant. It's subtle in a lot of ways, but very poignant. It's a poignant subtlety. So I urge you, listen to what's coming out from Within Temptation. Listen to what's coming out from Delain. Watch and see. Watch the heavens. And you know, if you don't believe in God or don't believe anything that I'm saying, ask him. Ask for truth. And it will show up. Have a good day.